Hello crafters, and welcome to Plan C, conversations about craft, creativity and connection. I'm Michelle Brown, creative director at From Picture to Page Beyond Papercraft shows.
And I'm Wendy Stewart from Wendy's Way, and we are very happy to be here today to bring you, I think it's a very extra special show today. We are bringing you a show all about hints, tips and tricks to make the best of your attendance at a papercraft show.
That's right.
And
Wendy.
we are very excited that, we're back to live in-person shows here in Victoria. So we just thought we would talk a little bit about it, how to get yourself to the show and how to have the best experience possible. And before we go any further, we'd like to thank everyone in our Papercraft Posse that helped us out. We asked the question, share your tips, your hints, your tips, your tricks, and we had a plethora of people share them with us. So we've made a list of all of them, and we're going to share them and talk with you about them today. English, Wendy, would be great. So we hope you're as excited as we are for the show, and it's Pakenham this week, and there will be many more shows to come in the future. So this show, you can always go back and rewatch it, and we've got a heap of tips. So let's get started, Michelle.
So Wendy, I think the reason behind this is,
Yes.
like we said, it's been such a long time since we've had craft
Absolutely.
shows, and we've got a whole heap of new people to our community as well. And I think sometimes your first craft show can be really, really overwhelming.
Oh, I
so
agree.
we thought we would crowdsource between the two of us
Yes.
and between our Papercraft Posse and find out the best tips and tricks. But before we jump into that, Wendy, when was your very first craft show? Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. Oh, now I think it was it was Paper Arts at St Kilda Town Hall, and I know I was living in Caulfield East at the time with my husband, so it's got to be over 22 years ago.
Wow.
25 years ago. And then I used to live right near the Caulfield Racecourse, and I braved Stitches and Craft Show one year, but I found it just too overwhelming because I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I went back the next day a little braver, and I wish someone had done a show like what we're about to do that I hope will help everyone out there to help you have the best day or days possible at a show that you go to. When was your first show, Michelle?
I think mine was Melbourne Paperific Expo as well, at the St Kilda Town Hall.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I'm not sure whether it was the year before my son was born or the year my son was born.
That's
and he's turning 20 this year.
That's
So
yeah.
it's probably about the same time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember meeting a few people that we're still friends with today. I
Yes.
remember watching Leslie with Little Bits
Yes.
and all her magic. I
Yes.
remember watching Julie from Collections with all her bits and pieces.
Awesome.
And I think it was the year that the lady from America came. Was it Stamp Francisco?
Oh.
And she had all of those unmounted
I think,
stamps.
yes, I know the one you're talking about. I remember that very clearly. I've never seen an unmounted stamp before. I was like,
It was
what do you mean there's
so
no wooden block? What am I
exciting.
supposed to do with this?
All of those of you that have been stamping for a long time will probably remember
Correct.
for a while. We could only ever get red rubber stamps on wooden blocks, which were just beautiful, but they were quite expensive and then very hard to store as well. So we've come a long way in stamping since then.
And question without notice, do you remember what was the first stamp you ever bought?
I do. It was a PSX stamp from Mailing Road.
Right,
Although I do remember Inky Pinky as well. I
Yeah,
think my
yeah.
very first one
Yeah.
was either a Merry Christmas or a thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. My very first one was a gollywog stamp.
Oh,
believe it or
really?
not. A gollywog wood-mounted stamp. And
Yeah.
that one little stamp, which I still have, has opened a door to all this amazing stuff. So anyway, on with the show.
Yes.
So my first thing, is you got to plan. You
Yep.
know I'm a massive planner. You and I, that's our OCD,
Yep.
whatever you want to call it. I reckon anything, no matter what, that you're going to, if you plan your trip, it's going to be a good one.
Excellent. So, we want to talk about what to do before you get to the show, what to do while you're at the show, and then, of course, what you do once you get home again. So, Wendy, what do we need to do to plan before we head to the show?
So the first thing is make sure you're on a mailing list, like Michelle's amazing mailing list, so that you get all the information about the upcoming shows, the dates, the location, the times, the tickets. Buy your ticket online. That's the first thing I would recommend. So, and I think it's going to get you ahead of the queue to people who are buying tickets at the door. Well, usually most events are like that. So I think get yourself organised, get your dates free, allocate the time that you're ready to go to the show. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing we talked about was really planning on getting there, because sometimes these are venues that you mightn't have been before, but definitely make sure you check Google Maps, because the Melbourne traffic has been a little bit challenging lately, as well as the public transport. So know where you're heading, know what train or bus you need to catch, and then know where you're planning on parking, and perhaps a few alternatives as well.
Definitely. And I can assure you, like Melbourne, there's a lot of people who are driving. There's a lot more people on the roads because, you know, you might not want to be using public transport. transport right now, but get there 15 minutes early. Okay, 15 minutes to sit in your car, just catch your breath, have a sip of water, have a little bit of a snack. You want to get there in enough time to find your park, line up if you must, or just get yourself together. Make sure you've got your bags, your wallet, some water, some snacks, and get ready to get in and have a great experience.
Yeah. And the great thing about the Pakenham show is that you can get into the venue and go to the bathroom before getting into the show. So I know that is very important for some ladies, and we know that we have a little bit of worry about that. So definitely Pakenham show, you can come in and get to the bathroom. So
which is fantastic. Yeah. And I always say, like, and if you've got your ticket already, it's just that's one less thing you have to worry about. You're not filling with money and purses at the door or whatever. You're showing your ticket, you're getting in, you're starting to shop and have fun, aren't you? So
that's right. So there's a few other things that we think you need to do before we go. So we also, like I said, make sure you've eaten or you've got some snacks packed. Yeah. Definitely bring some water. I think that's just easy. Yeah. I remember at least 1 or 2 shows where I've been thinking, do I have lunch or do I just eat this muesli bar and spend my money on something else? So it's always good to have a few snacks with you.
Definitely. And I think, especially with the shows, Michelle, I'm sure you've noticed, rooms can be hot, cold, they can transition during the day, and also depending on the amount of people that are in the venue at the time. So let's talk about clothing. Mm-hmm. Comfy shoes, for a fact, maybe loose, comfy clothing, if you tend to get hot like I do. Dress and layers. Absolutely, for Melbourne weather, dress and layers. It could be 2 degrees outside, and it could be pouring with rain. An umbrella is always a good idea if it's raining, or at least a jacket with a hood or something like that.
And what a lot of you may not realise is in these venues we actually don't get to control the air conditioning. It's all set automatically. So if we have doors opening and closing, that can affect it. Like you said, as we get more people, it might turn off, but then it takes a while to adjust. So definitely bring your layers for cool mornings and cool evenings, and then be able to take them off as it gets warmer through the day.
Definitely. And the other thing I have found, I don't know about you, Michelle, my handbag goes over my head, so my hands are free to carry other bags or stuff like that. So just try and you don't want your big huge purse that you take everything in. You don't need that. You just need a bag with some water, your wallet, your phone, or any snacks or whatever. So travel light so that you can buy more goodies, carry more goodies to the car. Right?
Excellent.
So, and the other thing that I thought of, many of us have got online friends that we've never met before, and we might be meeting them at a show. So you've organised to meet. Pick a stand, or pick at the entrance, or say you're meeting at the Little Bit stand or the J-Craft stand or whatever stand you might be. Nominate a time, this is where I'm going to be, Michelle, I'll meet you at, say the show opens at 9 or whenever it opens, say at 10:30 I will be in front of Little Bits or wherever you nominate, and so that you don't have any trouble meeting each other. And these days most of us know what each other looks like thanks to social media, but it might be someone you're a pen pal with or you've never actually seen a photo of in person, and it would be good to have that organised and ready to catch up. And it doesn't matter even if you have met them before, any of your friends who were there, everyone scatters when you get in. So just fix a time and go, I'm going to meet you at 10:30 at this stand, and off you go.
And I think it's also good to remember to perhaps just introduce yourself, even if you're fairly sure that people will know who you are. Because particularly when I'm at the show, my head is usually full of 101 things. And even people that I do know fairly well, it quite often takes, just that second or two. So if someone just stopped and said, oh, look, hi Michelle, it's Wendy. It's like, oh, of course. Now I know exactly who I'm talking with. Because
I know.
We do find that people come and say, hi, we feel like we know you, but we don't know you. So you need to introduce yourselves to us and help us out as well.
And that would be lovely, because we'd love to meet all of you, especially those of you who watch our shows and have enjoyed our shows and have commented. Please tell us who you are, because we'd love to know. And sometimes the display pictures are too little for us to recognise your faces in person. So please, we're very friendly, we're very approachable. Just come up and go, hello, I'm Wendy. That would be lovely.
Exactly. Okay, so we've done some preparing. We've got to the show. Now what are our tips for while we're at the show?
And one more thing, just before we leave, make sure the peoples at home are fed, know where you go. Tell them not to be bothering you unless it's an emergency, unless somebody's bleeding. So I'm not being flippant about it, but you've allocated this time for yourself. So really take the time to give yourself this space to enjoy it and to be with other crafters and be with our tribe. So, sorry.
That's a good point.
Back to you, Michelle.
No, not at all. So we were talking about, like you said, bring cash and cards. Look, these days, most of the retailers do take card as well, but you never quite know, and some of them are very small and might have different arrangements, so make sure you got a little bit of both, and then always feel free to ask, because retailers are more than happy to let you know what they would prefer.
I could tell you a funny story. At Peninsula, the last time we had Peninsula, I raided our 2 piggy banks, and I had $80 of $2 and $1 coins, and I went up to Jeanette from J-Craft. I just happened to be standing there, and she said something about change, and I went, you wouldn't want any change, would you? She goes, oh, I'd love some. I don't think she was expecting $80 in change, but she was thrilled. I think she was thrilled. I made her day, and I was like, oh, bonus.
Yep.
So, yes, but, a lot of them, and you can always reach out before the show and ask them if they're going to have cash or card facilities. So just be a little bit aware of that. And we want to help out our retailers who have been kind enough to come and join us at the show. So just help them in any which way that you can. Good way to get rid of all that loose change.
It is. And like we said, and if you can have a variety of notes as well, and a few smaller notes really does help us out when we get started. For
sure.
Excellent. Now the next thing was really about making sure as you head into the show that you know what you already own.
Why would you say that, Michelle? I don't know.
I'm sure that each of us at least have one case where we may have bought something that we had already owned.
I'll go with the one case and leave it at that. Okay. So, no, because, it's so important to know what you have. And look, after COVID, we've all had fun buying online and things like that, and our stashes might have expanded somewhat in the last year. But maybe just have a list, have a note in your phone, have a little book that you've got, all the colours, say, of your Dilutions paints or stamps or whatever. You don't want to double up. That's precious money. So you don't want to go and spend $30 on a stamp that you already have at home, which, I'm sure you could sell further on and stuff like that. But just know your stash, maybe shop your stash a little bit. Really important to make a list of, like, I don't know about you, Michelle, but I buy a lot of my consumables at the show because you always get really great deals, like, double-sided tape or glue or, your cardstock or whatever. So if you have a little bit of a look, see what are you running short of? What is it that you need? What is it that you think you're going to need, before the next show? So you can have it ready, have a list ready to go and go and hit up your favourite retailer for it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because with the shows every sort of 3 months or so, we do, use quite a few of those consumables.
Correct, absolutely. And I think, and especially the double-sided tape. I don't know where mine goes. I'm sure there's somebody in my house. I mean, there's nobody else besides me and my hubby, and he doesn't really use double-sided tape. But anyway, I don't know where the different sizes go. And and you might find you're using, more of one and less of the other. But you don't want to run out in the middle of a project, at I don't know, 10:45 at night or something. So you need to be prepared and just know that you've got your basics and your consumables ready to go, which would be great.
Yeah. Excellent. And the other thing we said is have a bit of an idea of what you do need or sort of where your interests might lie, because it's really easy to get distracted by all that glitter and those shiny objects.
Totally. Absolutely. And, you might have seen something online. You might have seen something new. I'm sure our retailers will be happy to explain the product to you and what it does. Some of them might be doing a demo with the product. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because they're more than happy to help you, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other great way is, if you don't know what something does or what it's for, ask them. They're ready to help you. Yep. Absolutely ready to help you. And, you might find something you really, really love, like, glitter paint or the new Dilutions shimmer paints, or you'll never know what you might find. Absolutely.
Okay, I think that covers that page. What else have we got, Wendy?
So the other thing, we had one of our lovely posse members talk about, there's lots of stalls, lots of stands have examples of cards, layouts, art journal pages. You're welcome to take photos, but we always encourage, please ask the retailer first. Please ask the people in charge if that's okay. 9 times out of 10 they're going to say yes, but it's always polite just to ask, get permission, photograph, and then you can always ask about the project they created, how you could go about creating it, and the products you need to create it. So, which is always lovely.
Exactly.
So,
or maybe that they have a class back at their store or somewhere else, and then you can make a note and then go back and follow up after the
absolutely.
show.
And, as you, just stepping back a moment, if you've had a look online, and I think the email's gone out today, Michelle,
It'll be going out
soon. Yeah, for the make and takes or people that are doing demos, there might be something you're really interested in. The moment you get into the show, go and book for the make and takes, go and book in for the classes, and then you can plan your day around the classes. Set a timer on your phone so you don't forget, set it for 5 minutes before, turn up to either the classroom or the stand so that you don't miss your spot and you get to do the make and take or the class or whatever it is that you've chosen to do.
And that's really good point. And so the website is the best place for all that detail. So from picture to page and beyond.com.au. And even as we head into show week, I get some very late updates. So it's always worth heading back and seeing. So sometimes people will tell us that they're doing something and then their plans change.
Oh, fair enough.
Or they tell us that they're doing something but we don't have details. So as we get closer to the show, we get more details.
Absolutely. So I've always done that. I've walked into a show and I've tried to identify before I've got there, what are the make and takes I want to do, what are the classes I want to do, go straight to the stands, book it in, and then plan my day. Because I think then you have a bit of a flow as to where you're going to go. So,
what we do is collate all that information in one document, what we call our to-do list. So you can see what retailers are coming, who's doing demonstrations, who's doing make and takes, who's doing mini classes, and we should probably explain the difference between those in a minute.
We will in a moment.
And that goes out to our email list. So if you're on our email list, you will have already received it, and if not, hop on and you will get it ahead of the next show.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to have as much information as you can before you head in there, because we don't get to go to those shows all the time, so it's really important to, as I said, to plan your visit and get the most out of it.
So like I said, let's just run us through those two things. So our demonstrations will be the retailers at their stand doing some projects where you can watch, you can ask questions, they're going to show off their current products, and you really get that sense of how they work and what else you might need to do to make those projects come
and
together.
I think there's nothing like someone showing you how to use a product, whether it's new or old, or you might learn a new idea for something you've had in your stash for a long time. So it's always great to watch the demos and see what you can get out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when we talk about make and takes, they're free little projects, and I think all of them you do book in once you get there, or sometimes you don't need to wait. Again, it depends on the retailer. So go and talk to them. Each of them will have signs up explaining what's going on. And then a mini class actually has a small fee attached. But everything you need is there. You don't need to bring any cutting boards or scissors or double-sided tape.
That's great to know,
And so that gives you a little bit more in-depth project. Some of the retailers then offer vouchers to spend back in the store. Again, each retailer has it slightly differently. So there are a couple that you can book ahead online. Most of them you book at the show. But again, check out the website. If there's links there to book ahead, they will be on the website. Otherwise, book as soon as you get in, like Wendy said. And as Wendy said, set yourself a timer. Because as the organiser of the show, there's nothing more frustrating than having announcements for people who have missed classes. Because there's lots of classes going on, so that's lots of coordinating to do.
And it's the onus is really upon us. If we've booked into a show, it's into a class or a make and take or whatever we booked into, it's up to us to turn up on time, just a couple of minutes before, just to be respectful for the retailer who's holding it, and also respectful to our other crafters who are waiting for us to finish our turn so they can jump in and have their turn, which would be great.
Because you may not realise just the amount of planning that goes into these shows, but also into the make and takes and the classes as well. So it really does help to be there, to show up, to be ready to listen and learn, and do your very best to complete that project in the time that's been allocated.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot to offer. There's a lot on offer, beg your pardon, for this show. So, Michelle, is there a separate classroom for this show this time?
No, there's not for Pakenham. So all the make and takes and the mini classes are done with the retailers.
No, that's fabulous. And it's all in one area, so you're not going to miss anything. So, it's going to be absolutely fine. But the key to this is book in as soon as you can.
Most definitely. Okay, absolutely. What are some of our other tips for at the show?
Okay. As you're shopping your stash before the show, might be a good idea to make a list of absolutely what you need. Like we talked about consumables. We talked about maybe there's a new project or a new product you've seen, or a project you've seen someone do that they're offering. Make sure you've got it on your list to ask questions about, or to buy the goodies you need to make the project, and go from there. I think that's really, really important. And have a clear idea of what you really want, what you may want, what what's that one elusive thing that you haven't been able to get, or is there a big ticket item that you want to purchase? Maybe you want to go and purchase that before, and if it's a bulky thing, I'm sure the retailer will hold it for you on the stand, and you can come back and collect it. Because you don't want to be lugging something around like a big trimmer or something through the show. I'm sure they'd come and fix that.
And having said that, if you have to go run back to your car, if you've got your hands full of them, you can get pass outs. With our capacity limits, it may take a little bit of time to get back in again, but it's very easy to go out, to go to the bathroom, to have a break, to come back in refreshed and start again.
And as we said, you can come into the building before the show starts and go to the bathroom. Michelle, is there a cloakroom facility for this show? No, there isn't. Just wanted to check. Sorry, just asking the questions that others might not think of.
Definitely.
But the cafe's going to be open, I think. So, so you can always come in and get ready and prepare to go in. So the other thing is, you might want to look at, I don't know if you do this or not. Do you go for one round first and see what everybody's got and then go back? Or do you or are you like me? I do a bit of both, right? So sometimes I just walk in and I go, if I see something, I just want to get it, because it may not be there by the time I come back around if there's not a lot of that product in stock. So do you have a preference to that?
Oh, it's a little bit of both. Like I said, I look at the list to know who
Yep.
I definitely want to go and target.
Yep.
I will probably visit those first. Sometimes I think if you find it too overwhelming, it is better just to wander and see what happens. So yeah, a bit of both. I've been known to do both.
No, fair enough. And I think you've got to do what you're comfortable doing. So, and you know, some people say that they like to price compare, but I think our retailers are pretty much of the muchness, and everyone's, you know, usually got the same price, around the same price of things. So just decide what you want, and if you have that must-have item, get it as soon as you get there, so you don't miss out, because who wants to miss out with something fabulous? You know, which is wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. As Michelle said, there are pass outs. I would suggest not bringing one big shopping bag. I would suggest bringing a couple of medium-sized bags or 2 or 3 different sized bags, because you don't, you know, they're going to get heavy as the day goes on, and you might get hot or hungry or whatever. So you want to take them back to the car and then come back in, and just be aware that at Pakenham with the pass out situation, it might take you just a few minutes to get back in, which would be, you know, you might just have to be a little bit patient, but it just gives you more time to think about what you might want next.
Exactly. And like we said, the retailers and the demonstrators and all the teachers are there to share their knowledge with you. So definitely ask questions, watch the demonstrations, really just take in as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's why Michelle has always offered, you know, 2-day passes for shows and things in the past, because, I mean, not everyone has the time to allocate 2 days to the show, but a lot of people go the first day just to soak in the atmosphere, do the classes, do the make and takes, and then go back the next day and buy. But if that's not possible, maybe do all your classes and make and takes and workshops before lunch, and then after lunch you can do your buying. And I would absolutely, definitely encourage you to have a break. Whether you're having lunch or not, have a break, sit down, have a drink. If you can get to the cafe, have a coffee, just refresh yourself, replenish yourself, and definitely keep yourself hydrated, especially, you know, I know it's cold in Melbourne, but it could be quite warm in the show area, and you don't want to, like, you know, get dehydrated or anything like that. So make sure you have a break, sit down, catch your breath, maybe go through your list of what you've got, what you haven't got, and maybe you've forgotten something on your list that, you know, you thought, I've got to get the biggest size double-sided tape, and I forgot to get it because you've been so excited seeing everything else. So you want to go back then, after feeling a little more refreshed and regenerated, go back in and chop some more.
Yeah, and it's always fantastic if you see what other people have got as well, and you think, I might want one of those. And at the Pakenham show, of course, there's a map that shows you where all the retailers are, but also all the retailers' details are on the back. So if you keep that map, then I always get calls after the show saying, do you remember the person that was selling this or that? And I don't tend to know exactly what everyone was selling. So I say, if you could tell me where they were or who it was, but they're all the details, and you can get in touch with them via their website or through Facebook. And then if you've got any questions, you can go back to them. Or like you said, if there were things that perhaps you changed your mind about and you wanted to then follow up on, that's the best way to get in touch.
And even, you know, there might be a retailer that, you know, runs out of something at the show. I know they would be more than happy to take an order from you and post it back out to you. So you're not going to miss out. Or if you saw, as Michelle said, if you saw something, you went, I think I really wanted that stamp after all, and, you know, didn't blow my entire show budget, then, you know, I'm sure they would post it out to you. So just ask. The retailers are there to help, to, you know, chat to you and get to know them, introduce them. You might have been buying from them online and they just know your name, Wendy Stewart, but they don't know what you look like because they may not have seen you on social media or don't know who you are. I know you would love for someone to come up and say, hi, I'm Wendy Stewart and I've been buying from your store for a long, long time. So, you know, and they're all there. They're willing and able and only happy to assist.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I think we've got through all the show things.
I think so.
So now we're heading home. What are some of our after the show tips, Wendy?
Okay. Go to the toilet before you leave the venue.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, I know for me, Pakenham is nearly an hour away. So 40 minutes to an hour away. Yeah. Definitely go to the bathroom before you get in the car. Maybe have a sip of water.
So we've covered all the tips and tricks.
Yeah, I know. Like, have a listen to us, right? You know, ladies of a certain age, you just need to go to the bathroom and just, I'm one of those, and just, you know, go to the bathroom and just have a sip of water before you drive off. Make sure you've collected all your bags, all your belongings. Make sure you've got everything that you arrived with that you're going home with. Just make sure.
Yeah, and that is actually a really good tip.
Yeah.
If you have lost anything at a show, please get in touch either during the show and we can easily make an announcement and see if it can be found, or after the show. I still have things from 2 or 3 years ago that's been lost at a show and people have never come back and collected them. So if you've ever lost anything you think was from a show, there's a ring, I've got an earring, I've got a little makeup case. I've got the train that little boy made at the Sandown show.
Oh.
So if anyone's lost any of those things, please get in touch and we'll get them to you.
I can tell you an amazing story. I was at the Geelong show, with the first Geelong show when Shirley was still running the show, and my aunt was with me, and she accidentally left a bag of all the goodies she had bought under the. We were doing a make and take, and she put it under the table, and she just forgot all about it because she had other bags with her. It wasn't until we got back to her home in Geelong and we were doing show and tell, and she went, "Where's all my stamps?" I went, "Oh my goodness." Such a blessing. I rang Shirley because I had a number. It was still in exactly the same spot where she had left it. So we just went back the next day and collected it. So thank you to everyone who helped us with that. So please ring or contact Michelle or email, because you never know what someone's found. And most people are very, very honest and will hand things in. So don't, even if it's 2 weeks after you've discovered I've suddenly forgotten something, please get in touch and ask. And I'm sure Michelle will be only too happy to help you out.
And that's sort of a good point. And that's what we always teach our children, is just before you move off, check around you, make sure you've got everything, make sure you know where your purse is.
Definitely.
I think every lost purse we've had has always been returned, so we've never had anything stolen or gone missing. The show's generally there to help each other out.
And if you've got, if you haven't got anything identifying in your purse, will be a good thing just to maybe pop your mobile number and your name, just even your first name, Wendy, and and you know what your purse looks like. So if Michelle has to ask you, describe it to us, so pretty good idea of what's in your purses. So not that we wish anybody to lose anything, and we want you to go home with all your amazing goodies.
Excellent. So now we're home and we've got all our goodies. What happens then, Wendy?
We put them in a cupboard and we forget about them. No! How many people have we had say to you that they bought things, especially gel plates for some reason, and they just put them in their cupboards and don't play with them? No.
Got them out and play with them. And we do encourage you before each show, that has been a while since the last show,
Very true.
is to get out the things that you've bought, have a play with them. If you have any questions, go back to the retailers and they might be able to explain again how it works, or and I know we keep these things for good, but paints and inks don't last forever. We have to use them.
There's no such thing as keeping anything for good. Life is too short, and if COVID has taught us anything, use your good paper, use your good paints. Get out those paintbrushes that are still in their beautiful Dina Wakeley pack sitting over there that are looking at you going, "Come on, just play with me, just use it." You have spent your time and your money and funds that you've worked very hard for to buy products, so go home and enjoy it. Maybe allocate some time, and next week after the show, maybe an hour here, an hour there, if you have it and you can, or even half an hour, just to play with the goodies that you have, and get to know them, get to know your product. You've always been such an advocate for get to know your paints, get to know your products, see what they can do. And while it's still fresh in your mind, if you've got any questions, get in touch with the retailer or the person, the store that sold it to you. I know they'll only be too happy to help you.
So like we said, all of their details are on the back of the map. They'll have their websites, and you can get in touch with them then. Like I said, if you've got anything that's not working as you expected, definitely get in touch. And the other thing we would love you to do is go onto Google or Facebook and leave them a review.
I know.
Let them know that you saw them at the show, that you really appreciated their help, that you really liked their make and take. And of course, we would love for you to do the same for the Picture to Page show, whether it's a Google review or a Facebook review. Let us know what you enjoy. And of course, if there was anything that you were concerned with, please contact me directly.
Yeah. And we would like to stress, Michelle and I and everyone who's involved with the show, if you're feeling unwell, even the morning of the show, if you're feeling unwell or you arrive at the show and you're just not feeling great, please just be mindful of everybody else there. Maybe turn around and go home, or don't even come if you're not feeling well, because it's not fair to you to start with. And we just want to protect everyone and help everyone to have the best experience at the show.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, all of those details will be on the website, but make sure you have the Services Vic app on your phone ready to check in. You've got your ticket ready to go. Bring a mask, sanitize, do our best to distance, and have a fantastic show.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be an amazing event. I know you're super excited, and this amazing lady has done a huge amount of work to make all this happen. And as a crafter and as a friend, I'm deeply grateful for this, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so that's it. I think we've covered
all the tips and tricks.
So before you head out, make sure you know where you're going, make sure you know what you've already got, so you know what you're looking for. Once you're there, talk to the retailers, introduce yourself to people. Don't be shy. Get to know people.
Don't. And even if it's someone that, you've seen in another craft group or something, go up and say, "Hey, Michelle, I'm from Papercraft Posse, blah, blah, blah. I love your cards," or whatever it is. So, and I just thought of one more thing. Make sure your phone's fully charged, or make sure you've got a charger in your car or a portable battery charger with you, just in case you need to get in touch with family or friends at the show or coordinate something. So, just so that you're contactable.
Definitely. And then after the show, like we said, said, you've got all the retailers' detailers there on the map, and they're
Absolutely.
also on the website. So pull out anything that doesn't work or doesn't work as you as expected.
Yep.
Get in touch. Follow up, see who's got classes. Perhaps go in and visit them, and they're
Yes,
they're in
definitely.
stores as well.
Yep. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a fabulous time. So we wish you a wonderful, wonderful show experience, and we look forward to seeing many of you there.
Excellent. And that's it for season 2 of Plan C.
Yeah.
So we hope you've enjoyed these tips and tricks for heading to a craft show.
Yes.
And I know Wendy and I are really ready to go for the weekend.
Absolutely. We can't wait. And everybody stay safe, and we'll see you at the show.
Excellent. Have a crafty day.
Bye.